Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 140 of the Talkish. Whoops. You appear to have a technical here, guys.
Alright, there we go. Start again.
Right. That was a technical of my own doing, so apologies for that. Yeah, I'm not very good around technology. You probably guessed that by now. I know Curtis knows. Right, so yeah, as I was saying, guys, episode 140. Live here in the AFTV studios in North London, and I'm joined alongside me with the Don, the legend. What can I say that hasn't been said already about this man? Mr. Curtis Shaw of Curtis Shaw TV in the house. What are you saying?
That's calling me the Don, you know. Is Robbie retired now, yeah? Oh, I'll tell you.
So how you keeping, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, that top of the league glow, we've still got it. So
still good. You've had it for a few weeks.
Yeah, we got to ride that wave while we can, haven't we?
We've got to ride it like
it's good, man.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, man. But let's get cracking, man. Let's get into it. We've got a lot to talk about today. Let's start off with our news and notes. Those of you who watch the show regularly know we'll start off with our news and notes, which are stories that are topical in the news, and then I ask Curtis's opinion. I guess the main one this week is the recent announcement of the Ballon d'Or winner. Always seems to throw up some controversy, although this year may be a bit less than previous years. But for those of you who don't know, the Ballon d'Or winner this year was Karim Benzema, very worthy winner in my view. However, there has been a lot of talk that his teammate, Thibaut Courtois, is a more deserving winner. I have a feeling that Curtis, being a man who loves striker, used to be a striker himself. I have a feeling I know what he's going to say. But anyway, I'll ask you regardless.
Big body.
Courtois, yeah?
Big body Benzi, man. Ballon d'Or Benzi, man. You see the man turned up in the 2-pack dripping.
Yeah, I see that.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Listen, for me, Benzema, I think one of the most deserving winners that we've seen. I don't know if you see that picture where when Ronaldo won the Ballon d'Or, he was standing behind him, applauding him. I respect people like that, you know. You appreciate.
I know you respect strikers.
Yeah. Oh, listen, Benzi for me, I mean, I've said for many years, I think he's one of the best strikers of the last 10, 15 years. Doesn't necessarily score as many goals as others, although last year I think he got 40 goals in all comps. It was his most productive year, but I think he's a great player. Glad he's back in the French squad. He's kind of, since Ronaldo's left Real Madrid, he's stepped up and been the main man. And listen, Courtois, you know, he done great in goal, but strikers union, man. Benzi all day long deserves
all
that.
Day long.
All day
no,
long.
I'd have to agree with you. In fact, the only surprise I had is that they didn't find a way of giving it to Ronaldo or
Messi, yeah. For Messi's 20 goals in the French league, we'll give him the Ballon d'Or.
No, but seriously, it just seems in previous years that all they've had to do is just make a few appearances, and regardless of performance. No, that's unfair.
They've dominated, though, haven't they, for over a decade.
Yeah. But what do you think of this argument that only certain types of player are going to get it?
Yeah, I think it's usually it's an attacking player, isn't it? At the end of the day, football is an entertainment as well, and strikers, goal scorers make it the most entertaining, really. So it's harsh, you know. I'm sure Van Dijk and Courtois and Ramos, all these great defenders and goalkeepers are probably frustrated, but it's the way the game is, man. That's why strikers usually get the most money, you know. Goals win games.
Yeah, absolutely. But it also has to be said, I mean, in recent years, Karim Benzema has had his fair share of controversy as well. Some people would say, is he deserving, given that some of the stuff he's been involved with?
Yeah, but the personal stuff.
We won't go into it.
Yeah, won't go in. But even some of these others, man, Ronaldo's had controversy and all sorts. So I think you just got to judge him off his football, man. He's a great player, in my opinion. One that, you know, another one that Wenger claims we nearly signed, you know, on that long list of players we nearly got. But yeah, Benzi, man, top player, and I think definitely deserves it.
Okay, you convinced me, even though I didn't need convincing, but yeah, okay. Right, so that being said, we'll move on. Another regular feature is where we look at Arsenal's game since the last show. There's been 2 games since the last show. We go back to last week, Thursday. Bodo Glimt in the Europa League. That was our 3rd game in the group stages. We won 1-0, a goal from Bukayo Saka. It has to be said, slightly fortunate. It was actually a pretty competitive game out there in Norway, 8 degrees chill. Shout out to Cecil and lead judges out there. They went out there with AFTV in front of a sellout crowd. I mean, it wasn't massive crowd. I don't know the exact attendance, but I know they were pretty raucous. Yeah, it did come across that way. And Bodo Glimt, to be fair, they've got some decent players, man.
No,
they do
I
try and
they
play
played
football.
well.
I did notice that. Played them twice now.
Yeah.
and I've been quite impressed with the way their approach to the game.
Yeah.
Even trying to play out from the back every time, even though we were trying to press them. So, and let's be honest and say as well that Bodo Glimt, their record in Europe against other European teams is actually pretty good.
Especially at home.
Yeah. Prior to last week, I think they'd recorded 14 unbeaten. So
I think, listen, you go and play on an AstroTurf pitch. Most of this generation of pros, they won't have really played on that surface, and I think we found it quite difficult. I think Bodo, when we were drawn against them, I was joking about them, calling them Hello Moto and all that, but they're actually a decent team. They pass the ball well. It's difficult.
It's not like you to be condescending.
No, not at all, not me. But but listen, they made it difficult for us, but we did what we needed to do. It's a game that, you're not going to go back and watch the highlights of. It was just a case of win the game. I have to admit, the one thing that worried me was when I seen Thomas Partey coming on with 7 minutes to go. I was just like, please, not on the AstroTurf. Don't. I wouldn't have even taken him over there, to be honest, but maybe he needed a few minutes, but I would have probably left him at home. But we're pretty much through now, so hopefully we can start resting a few more.
We've got a game next week, and we'll be touching on that. Sorry, not next week. This week.
This week, yeah.
Against PSV, we'll be touching on that later. But yeah, you're right. But listen, 3 games, 3 wins, 9 points, top in the group.
Yeah.
So yeah,
job done.
Job done. Yeah. So. Okay then, so that was that, and then we moved on to Sunday, and another away game, this time to Leeds.
Yeah.
Up there at Leeds, bit of a cauldron atmosphere, always going to be a difficult game, regardless of the scoreline. I expect Leeds to, they're always going to come at you, passionate crowd. Sunday, fairly early kickoff as well. Games that over the years we've, not excelled in, I think it's fair to say. And then we had the start, or the lack
thereof, as you used to say.
Yeah. I think Eon rolled up, man.
Yeah, man, inflation's
Eon pulled
real.
Up and said, "Yo, you've not paid your bill."
Paid the bill. Electricity's gone up, man. Leeds.
We're cutting it off, and unless you come through with the money,
no game.
Unless you come through with the peas, man. You know what I mean? We're locking this off. But,
back in the day, I don't know everyone, but when your electric used to go on emergency, you have to go outside.
See if you can hook up to
see if you can do something, man. You know what I mean? I think Leeds went on emergency credit, but big up the electrician, man. Boy.
No, but on a serious note, there was a power cut after a couple of minutes, so the game got delayed for 30 minutes. And with that power, that meant that there was no VAR and no goal line technology. So we were reliably informed that the games were not allowed to proceed under those conditions. Because I know some people, I was looking at some of the comments on social media, and I was saying, look, just play the game.
I have to admit, I was. Obviously, I didn't realise goal line technology wasn't working. But for VAR, I was saying, can't he just ring him? Just come to the side of the pitch. Oh, bro, what's happening? Goal or no goal? But obviously, with no goal line technology, it wasn't possible. And listen, we needed VAR in the end with everything that happened. It was
a tough game.
It was a tough game.
I think it's fair to say, man, that Leeds were in the ascendancy in that game. They did pretty much everything except score. I've got some of the statistics here. We'll discuss those briefly. Shots on goal, Arsenal 9 to Leeds 16, so that tells its own story. Although shots on target, it was 4 each. Possession, you may be surprised to learn that Arsenal had slightly more of the ball, 53% to Leeds 47. Completed passes, Arsenal 500 to Leeds 428. Pass accuracy, again, Arsenal slightly on top. Arsenal 83% to Leeds 78%. But as I like to say, that all-important category, the one that stands out above everybody else, and that went in our favour. Leeds 0, Arsenal 1. Great goal by Saka.
Great goal.
Saka is, just talk about him very briefly. He got off to a bit of a slow start, didn't he? At the start of the season. Some people say, no, he doesn't look on it. But I'll tell you what, in recent weeks, man, he's been one of our most important players.
Up a notch,
and he come through today. He came through at the game. So yeah, man. Your brief thoughts on the game?
I mean, listen, it was a tough game, and again, I think you got to give credit to Leeds because they made life very difficult. I think that was one of our toughest games of the season.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, Bamford missed the penalty, and then the penalty at the end that was overturned. It was one of them where people say you've got to win games when you haven't played well. That's a sign of a good team. So for me, I was really enthusiastic about the fact we went there. I don't think we played particularly well, but still came away with the win. They were unbeaten at home. They beat Chelsea 3-0. Teams will go there and drop points this season, in my opinion. So I think you could tell the way Arteta was celebrating again that he knew that we'd got away with one there, if we're being honest. And I reckon a year or 2 years ago we'd have lost that game, or at least drawn that game. So I think you're starting to see that maturity of the team now, that resilience. You know, we can grind out results now. Saka's goal was brilliant. On his right foot. You know, goalkeepers tend to come out and crouch down a little bit to get themselves. He just kind of hit it over his head, didn't he? And he's starting to get goals now. And yeah, I thought it was a massive win for us. Big win. And obviously what happened afterwards with City getting beat as well made it an even bigger win. So yeah, great result. Average performance, but I'd say brilliant result for us.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair assessment. In the second half, there were spells in that game where we were really under the cosh, and we were having to defend for our lives, really. But we came through it, dug in, got the win, like you said. So yeah, it's all good. There were a couple of talking points in that game, aside from the no power at the start. The Bamford missed penalty.
Cheers, Patrick.
It's quite a bad miss, really.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I always think you should never miss the target. Make the goalkeeper save it. I mean, Ramsdale did go the right way, so it would have been interesting if he would have got there. But to put it, I got to be honest, when I saw him taking the penalty, I was a bit like, I think he'll probably score this. He's not bad at penalties, but yeah, he done us a bit of a favour. As
penalties go, that was pretty poor.
That was a poor
it wasn't
penalty.
Like a couple of centimetres wide. It was pretty wide, actually.
Yeah, he done us a big favour.
And I've got to ask you about the incident at the end. So, again, some people are saying we got lucky. I'll be interested to hear Curtis's views on this. The incident I'm talking about is the little skirmish in the box with Bamford and Gabriel, who's coming in for a bit of notoriety this season. I'm just going to say straight out, man, what was your thoughts on that incident? I mean, was it a penalty? Was it a sending off? Or did the referee get it right?
I think the ref got it right.
In the end.
In the end. Fair play, that's what the ref and VAR is there to do, isn't it? You know, overturn decisions.
See what I mean? So if the power cut there,
it wouldn't have happened. Yeah. I have to say, though, and I spoke to you about this off camera, I do think it was stupid from Gabriel. I was referring to the fact that Vieira years ago at Old Trafford kicked out of Van Nistelrooy, never made contact but was still sent off. Now, if we're keeping it 100, Gabriel does slightly kick out towards Bamford. Now, look, Bamford's is a yellow card. You know, he pushes him over. It's stupid. Gabriel should have been calm enough to just stay on the floor, you know, roll around, time waste, end the game, getting booked. He does react. And you don't have to make contact with someone to be sent off. It's intent. So the referee could have still said, you know, there is a bit of a kick out there. He could have still sent him off. I don't think he should. But Gabriel, again, for me, is playing with fire there. You know, as he has done a few times this season. I think he's a good player, but you can't have them moments of madness. It only takes a second to ruin a good performance. So I think the referee
was very keen to remind him of all the people.
Do you know what, though? I like the fact that Granit Xhaka did that to him, because Gabriel was so incensed. He was like, yo, calm down, man, because Xhaka's probably saying, that's been me for the last 3 or 4 years. But now he's the calm head. Gabriel, listen, I've always said there's a very fine line with an aggressive defender between being a good aggressive defender and being a clumsy defender who people will start to target, you know, because if you're playing against Arsenal now, I think you would say try and wind Gabriel up, and you don't want him to be targeted like that, so he's just got to cool it down a bit. I actually thought, though, he had a good game, which is what made that disappointing at the end. But listen, we got away with it. He needs to learn quickly and take it out of his game moving forward. But he did play well. He did. And we got away with it in the end.
You know what, though, bro? I'm going to slightly disagree with you.
Here he goes.
No, seriously. I am.
Go on.
And I'll tell you why. Because, yes, you're right. He did appear to kick out, and you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
However, in the heat of the moment, you get pushed to the ground like that. Because, listen, this wasn't just like a leaning in type push. Man literally body slammed him to the floor. And, you know what I mean? And then he went over, and then he, you know, in the midst of rolling over, his leg kind of came up. It wasn't a violent kick out, but there was a lot of provocation there, bro.
There was.
So for number one, that ruled it out as a penalty for me. And like I said, given the level of provocation with that, what I would call as a violent push. It wasn't just, like I said, a little
it was a proper,
it was a proper pushing a man. I mean, put it this way, if you pushed a man down like that in the street and the police got involved, they'd be saying they're doing you for assault.
Yeah,
you know that?
Yeah,
I mean, that wasn't a little handoff like that.
Yeah,
That was
it's a proper full floor.
Dash man down on the floor.
But still.
No,
you know what I mean?
you.
He can't react to it.
Yeah, you
That's
shouldn't
the
react.
difficult thing in football.
But I think the referee, you know what I mean?
He got it right in the end.
Common
I
sense
agree.
prevailed.
I agree.
He looked at that. You know, I mean, straight away the Arsenal players were, look, come on, man, look at that again. To be fair to the upstairs people, they said, we invite you to
but
come
don't you think, you know, sometimes, you know, they say he's a home ref in terms of, there will be certain grounds where certain refs, I think, would have looked at and go, oh no, he's kicked out him, they get him off. So I understand what you're saying. Bamford has fully provoked him, and I don't think it is a penalty. I'm just saying he's got to be careful with them reactions.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, because a different ref might not have seen it like that. But I get your point. I do get your point. Bamford.
And so that was my feeling. I think the referee got it right. And what you just said about some referees, you know, being in the cauldron might have favoured the home side. So I'm going to give the referee a lot of credit for that. And I'm going to also call out man like Ty, because I know Ty's always going on about referees, this so-called agenda against Arsenal. But to be fair to that ref on Sunday, he got that right.
He refed it very well.
He could have ignored that and just said, no, we're going with the original decision. And and you know what as well? I think it was, I don't know if you saw the pictures after the game. Bamford appeared to go up to Gabriel and say, look, you know, I tried a thing.
I saw that.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to, you know what I mean, deliberately get you sent off, but all's fair in love and war. That's what he seemed to be saying. And Gabriel, from the way they were communicating with each other, the way it came over to me, Gabriel said, okay, fair enough. But it wasn't.
It was a bit out of order. But it's football, isn't it? It's a game, you know. That's how it is now.
And I kind of respected Bamford, because what he's basically saying is, listen, man, I'm just here to try and win for my team. I tried it was
nothing
it nearly worked.
It nearly worked. It nearly worked, man.
You know what I mean? You'd probably say, come on, bro, you probably would have done the same thing if you was in my position. But definitely wasn't a penalty for me. Definitely wasn't a sending off. Although you said, even though they never gave the penalty, he still could have got the red card. And that would have been for violent conduct. And he would have missed 3 games. So, we got out of that one okay. So we end up winning the game. As you said, results went our way. So Liverpool beat City. Liverpool now working for us. We was all singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" after that game. You know what I mean? It was nice to see Haaland get dealt with as well. Well, yeah, man. Yeah.
The robot got
the wannabe Saliba.
Virgil Saliba,
formerly known as Virgil van Dijk.
Virgil van Dijk,
yeah, he did a good job.
Handled him.
He kept Haaland pretty much quiet.
And Gomez as well.
Results worked our way, and here we are again.
4 points clear of Man City, man. Jeez,
little gap.
Times have changed, haven't they, man?
They have indeed. So that meant that we went top of the table, and not just that. It also meant that statistically, that's Arsenal's best ever start to a top division.
Wow.
Which is amazing, really. 9 wins from their first 10 games, 1 draw. I know a lot of people are going to talk about the Invincibles, but they never got 9 wins from their first 10 games. So the amount of points accumulated means that that's the best start. And so I guess, Curtis, my question to you is, tell me why you think we've made this drastic turnaround, because last season was nothing like this. So what are the reasons? Explain.
Oh, I mean, first of all, I think pre-season. I think it started before the season started. I think for once we got the majority of our business done early. You know, Zinchenko, Jesus, they were on the tour. Vieira was on the tour as well. I think we signed players that I always think sometimes you need game changers. You know, you need... I think Jesus has been a game changer this season. I think Zinchenko, when he plays, we're a much, much better team. I think Saliba's been a game changer as well, even though he's not actually a new signing. So even when we was in America, it just felt different. You know, the way we beat Chelsea in that friendly, it was like something feels different this season. I think the players have matured. I think sometimes, you know, you go through some pain, it almost leads to, you know, success later on. I think the team would have been hurt by what happened last season, the way we kind of threw away top 4. And I think there's maturity in the group now. I actually think Arteta's matured as a manager as well. You know, because at the end of the day, he was never a manager. He's learned on the job, and I just think really the group have matured now, and I think even some of the more experienced players like Partey, like Xhaka, you know, they've kind of shown more leadership this year as well. So I just think it's almost the growth of the team. It's the team growing up. I think Gabriel Jesus and Saliba are the two that have really... Saliba in defence and Jesus up front, you know, because obviously Aubameyang, Lacazette and Eddie, who's still here. You know, they've all done their thing, but I think Jesus just given us that extra spark up front. And you see with Martinelli and Saka out wide now as well. I think they are better players with him in the middle. So I just think it's the maturity, the growth. I think the preparation was right in pre-season, and I think that energy has just kind of carried us into the season.
No, I would agree, definitely. You said the new signings have been the catalyst, but then you've had the maturation of people like Martinelli and Saka. As I said, right at the start of the season, after a few games, some people were calling out Saka. And saying, oh, he doesn't look on it. But in recent weeks, he's starting to produce. He's starting to score goals as well and look really threatening. And it's really exciting times for Arsenal. And as I said, that's the best ever start to a top division season for Arsenal.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Nine wins from 10. I think there's only ever been 4 teams that's done that. And guess what?
They all
went on to win the title.
Jeez.
So
is it our year?
It could well be. I mean, we raised that question a couple of weeks ago on the show. And some people were laughing at us, weren't they? Saying, "Oh, ridiculous! You've not played anyone yet." But at the end of the day, if you keep winning,
you're in the mix.
If you get this rate of progression is maintained till the end of the season.
I'll tell you one thing for me that's going to be interesting is we'll see how ambitious the Kroenkes are in January.
Absolutely.
Because if you're in that, if I'm Mikel Arteta, I'm going to them and saying you've got to get the checkbook out in January. You know, we've won all these games. Hopefully, we can go to the World Cup still top of the table. I'm saying you've got to get as a centre midfielder. You've got to get as a winger. At least 2 players that can boost this squad. I saw Douglas Luiz in the week had signed a new contract. So it won't be.
Was he disappointed?
I wouldn't have mind getting him. He's not the be all and end all though. You know, I'm going to do the typical football fan thing. We're not signing him, so I don't rate him. You know, if we'd have signed him, I would have been like, yeah, top player, Brazilian. You know, he signed a new deal. Some people saying he didn't want to leave his missus. His missus plays for Aston Villa.
Oh yeah, that's
women's
right.
team. So you know, but
but
no, that man are hungry in Birmingham, man. They don't play, you know. But listen, for me, last January was pivotal in our season. Didn't sign anyone. I think that changed the season. I think if we can get 2 good players in January to boost that squad, you get Smith Rowe back fit as well, Zinchenko back fit, El Neni, we got half a chance. I think we can challenge. Whether we got enough to win it is a different story, but challenge, I think at the start of the season I wanted top 4, even if it was 4th. Now I'm thinking we can get 2nd or maybe even more. But so
well, there's a saying in the business world and in the corporate world that said you build from the top, and you know, as you said, we're at the top. They get an opportunity in January to strengthen the side more, and I think it would be foolhardy if they wasted it. That being said, you can't throw money after. You know, the players that are coming in have got to be an improvement, or if not an improvement, as good as what we've got now. And you know, I mean, listen, everyone's in the same boat for players. So. But yeah, I do agree that transfer window in January could be
massive.
Could be very pivotal as to how the season goes. I did want to ask you on the reasons for Arsenal's great success at the moment. We've got to talk about it. The manager now, especially in the light of what happened a couple of weeks ago with the interview with Aubameyang that he gave, where he talked about saying that he can't handle big name players and he's okay with the younger guys because they'll listen to him, but the bigger players represent more of a challenge for him that he doesn't seem to embrace very well. And we spoke about that a couple of weeks ago. But what do you say to the pro-Arteta people who say that, listen, he was right to get rid of Aubameyang? It's been vindicated because look at the way the team is now. Apparently the dressing room is all aligned. Everything's going well. And that's all down to what Arteta did in terms of getting rid of the likes of Aubameyang. There was a few others that went as well, but people sort of zeroed in on the Aubameyang
situation. Yeah.
and said, look, you know what I mean, he got that right. I've got mixed feelings in that. I'm not going to go into it. I want to know what you think.
I mean, look, I was a big Aubameyang fan as well, but ultimately a manager has to have the dressing room the way he wants it. And obviously the way Aubameyang was operating and what Arteta wants, they weren't aligned. I would say now, Gabriel Jesus suits what we do more than what Aubameyang does. I think he gives us more. I'm not saying he's a better striker, better player, but I think what he does, the way he works, I think it suits us more. So I think we're in a better situation now with him. In terms of not being able to manage big names, I wouldn't really agree with that, because I think Thomas Partey is a big name, Gabriel Jesus a big name, you know, Zinchenko came from Man City as well.
But would you say they're on the, and listen, no disrespect to those guys, they are big name players.
Yeah.
However, you wouldn't quite put them at the level of Aubameyang
and
Ozil
Ozil,
and
yeah.
like that. And I think that's what Aubameyang was referring to.
I think the thing we've got to be honest with though is when we got rid of Mesut Ozil, he was past his best.
Yeah.
I think the majority of the fan base could see he was past it. He's gone to Turkey, he's struggled there. With Aubameyang, even with him, I was a big fan of him, but he wasn't performing at the time. That's just the reality of it. He wasn't scoring goals.
Was that loss of form, or was that he just ain't got anymore? Because it has to be said.
He went to, he looks good.
Yeah, he's left Arsenal. He's not stopped scoring. He went to Barca. He got a very good goal scoring record there. Very highly thought of there. He's gone to Chelsea and he's scoring there as well. Graham Potter waxing lyrical about Aubameyang in the press recently. So,
listen, I don't think Aubameyang was finished when he left Arsenal, but maybe he was finished at Arsenal.
Right.
We had a certain style of play. He wanted somebody that gave us a little bit more hard work and could also score goals. And I think Aubameyang is a poacher now. He plays the width of the 18-yard box, waits for chances, and he'll finish. I think Arteta wanted someone different to that. So at the time, I was frustrated with Oba leaving, more because we never brought in a replacement. We thought we were going to get Vlahovic. We never got anyone. Now we've got Jesus. I'm not particularly bothered about Aubameyang, if I'm being honest. I'm going to be honest, man. You know what I mean? It's like...
I never thought I'd hear you say
yeah,
that,
man, I'm telling you.
Man's not bothered.
No, I'm not bothered. Man's 33, you know what I mean? Jesus, 25. He can get about.
The king is dead, long live the
yeah,
king.
man, he's gone, man. He's at Chelsea now. He's going to roll up to the Emirates in blue, man. So as far as I'm concerned...
Everything.
He's the enemy right now, bro. Thanks for what you did, but you know it's done. So listen, at the time, I thought we got it wrong not replacing him more than letting him go. But I think with Jesus, he fits what we're trying to do more than Aubameyang.
Sure.
So I know what you're saying. I don't think Jesus and them are probably on the level of what Ozil was when you look at the CV as a World Cup winner and stuff like that. But ultimately, Ozil and Aubameyang were not in good form when we got rid of him. You know, if he got rid of Aubameyang when he was scoring, that's a personal issue. But they were both out of form. So listen, I have not been the biggest fan of Arteta, and everybody knows this. And I feel at times it's been justified. But he deserves a lot of credit for what he's done at this club and got through all the criticism from people like me and other people. And I see a growth of a manager. I see maturity now. I think his substitutions are better. I think his signings have been better. He's signing more established players now. It's just, you know, can he now take us to that next level? Can you get us in the Champions League? Once we're in the Champions League, what is the plan of the club from there? Can you try and challenge for the title, challenge for the Champions League? So he's making steps in the right direction. But like I said last season, we were in the top four looking like we had it, and we threw it away at the end. So this season he's got to make sure, you know, we get over that finish line. But listen, much improved, and hats off to him, and hope it continues.
Yeah, you know what, I would have to agree with pretty much everything you said there. What we're seeing now is in effect a vindication of what he was pursuing in terms of having a dressing room the way he wants it.
Yeah.
Because the players are playing for him, there's no doubt about that. There's a certain energy to the team that I didn't see always. I mean, I saw it in fleeting since, but not consistently. I think what we're seeing this season is consistency. We're seeing energy. We're seeing the players playing for him. If you notice Arteta on the touchline, he's very energetic. To the point where sometimes I think it comes across as micromanaging for me. But hey, you can't argue with a winning record, as
of course,
they say. And everything seems to be moving in the right direction. And listen, man, as I said before, the way I look at it is the team is doing great, but listen, Aubameyang's not doing too bad either. So it's worked out well.
It's worked out for both.
Yeah, it's worked out for well. So I can't argue with that. And like you said earlier, the stars were aligned a little bit because you brought in these new guys, Jesus, Saliba, Zinchenko, to name but three. And those guys have come in and they've sort of set a bar and they've brought the other guys with them. And at the same time, there's been a maturation of Saka and Martinelli and people like that. They are now established Arsenal players. If you remember last season, we were relying on the youngsters, weren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Too much at times.
Yeah.
And that's not a recipe for long-term success. But now you've got guys that are coming, experienced guys like Jesus and Zinchenko and people like that, and they are.
And I think that's now why you look at our whole front three; they're all playing well, because at the start of the season, everyone doubled up on Saka. Every time he played, he had two players on him. So Martinelli was doing well, he wasn't. But now Martinelli's a danger man as well. You see what he did to Trent last week. So now people trying to double up on him. So you're giving them problems all over the place. Like we were saying last week, our front three is probably the most energetic in the Premier League. Yeah. You know, we're kind of doing to teams what Liverpool's front three used to do a few years ago with the high press. So the main thing for me, what I keep saying with this Arsenal team, we've got a really good team at the moment. We've got a couple of good subs. It's the strength in depth for me, which is the worry.
Is that for you the final piece of the jigsaw?
That for me is the final piece. I think you look at any substitutes bench we've named this season, it's not strong enough in my opinion. You need game changers. You look at City at the weekend, they had Mahrez, Grealish, you know, on the bench, £100 million player on the bench. Yeah. They're the levels we're aspiring to be at. You know, we need to look at the bench and go, right, he can come on and win you the game. I don't think we've quite got enough of those yet. It does take time, it takes a lot of money, but I think sometimes you've got to fast forward with a project. And I think because we're doing so well, the Kroenkes have got to go for it in January. Even if we go for the title, don't win it, and we finish second, we'd have all taken second at the start of the season.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
palpable disappointment.
Yeah, after last season. So I think they've got to take advantage of it.
I just wanted to ask you as well, talking about big name players, we've got to give Arteta credit for the way he's managed so far anyway. Granit Xhaka. I mean, Granit Xhaka is a name that in the past has polarised a lot of Arsenal fans. I know you weren't always a big admirer of him, but I think it's fair to say that this season he's had a very good season. Yeah, probably his best season at Arsenal.
Definitely.
Would that be fair to say?
Oh yeah.
And I think you could also be accurate in saying that a large part of that is down to Mikel Arteta, obviously, you know what I mean, having conversations with him and saying, look, you're one of my main players, I want you to play a role. In fact, the role he's performing in the team this season is a slightly different one that he's been deployed to do in previous seasons. So what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, again, I was definitely not a fan of Granit. You know, that's an understatement. To say the least, man. I was done with Granit. I thought his time was up, but I think this new role has suited him down to the ground. I think Zinchenko helps that role massively because when Granit goes, Zinchenko steps into his midfield role, and he's kind of playing this Gundogan role that they're saying, which has suited him down to the ground for a long time, you know, getting the ball on the edge of his own penalty area. If you make a mistake, you tend to get punished. Now he's on the edge of their penalty area, and you know, it's crazy for me to say, but he's become like a definite starter, an important player. Him and Partey in that midfield role is actually pivotal at the moment. So again, got to give him credit because I would have happily replaced him and moved him on. You know, when Roma tried to buy him, I think it was last summer, I was saying, take the money, let him go, man. Whatever Mourinho's offering, just take it. So again, got to give him credit, and the role suits him. But again, my thing would be, you need to carry this form on till the end of the season. But much improved, and
much improved all the way around.
All around,
there you have it. I mean, Curtis has explained to you the reasons of this, you know, I mean, absolute revelation in terms of form. And I mean, do you think that can keep it going? Do you understand?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, we're coming from. Well, listen, we're going to have some difficult games. A lot of the big teams we've still got to play away from home. A lot of them we've played at home, I think, apart from Man United, and obviously, you know. And this is what I was saying. Remember at the time when we lost to Man U, I was saying I'm really disappointed with that result. And then a lot of these Man United games I've been watching, I'm like, how the hell did we lose to them? You know, they're struggling to beat Cypriot team in Europa League. Newcastle held them. But listen, it was a blip. It can happen. I just think get to the World Cup top of the league. There's only 5 Premier League games until the World Cup. Get there top of the league, strengthen in January, and then obviously we play Man City twice now at the back end of the season. You never know, a Haaland injury, a De Bruyne injury, you just don't know. Loss of form, you know.
I mean, like you said, the World Cup's coming up. You don't know how that's going to affect players coming back. I mean, listen, could very well apply to us as well. We got a few that's going to the World Cup.
Quite a few.
But these things, you know, I mean, do happen. Injuries, loss of form, whatever. But at the moment, things are looking well. Can't complain. And my man Curtis there has given you the reasons as to why Arsenal are top of the table and looking good. But moving on. Ops of the week. 2 ops this week, as it was last week. We've got in the Europa League this week PSV. Now that's a game I'm looking forward to watching. Because PSV is a slightly different team. A lot of fans will be in the Emirates this week from Holland. I'm expecting quite a lively game. They're second in the group. They thrashed Zurich. Was it 5-0 and 5-1, and their other game they drew Bodo Glimt. So they're a decent team. I think they're second in the Dutch league at the moment. Got a couple of good players as well. Luke de Jong, Cody Gakpo, those guys have, you know what I mean, have had good reviews in recent times. So I'm sure it'll be a competitive game. And we're in the ascendancy in that group. We topped the group, 3 games, 3 wins, 9 points. How do you see that going?
I think it's a big game because PSV really are a team that are sort of Champions League level. I know they lost to Rangers in the qualifier. I think if we win this game, I think we've pretty much won the group. And then
if we get a point, we're definitely through to the stages.
So we need a good result. And like you said, Gakpo, we were linked with him in the summer and he started the season really well. I think he's got like 15 goal contributions already. So again, that could be a player that we actually look to sign in January. You know, he was
tapping him up after the game.
It's the perfect way to see how good he is, isn't it? Watch him play against us. So
I'm sure his agent will be telling him the same thing.
He will. I mean, he said in an interview, you know, Thierry was his idol growing up and giving.
We've heard that before.
We've heard that before. Yeah, we always.
But you know, you're gonna
hear it. So I think this will be a tricky one because I think Arteta will have to play a decent team for it. You can't rotate too much. And one thing I would say, I think you saw on Sunday the first signs of fatigue in this Arsenal team. I think that trip to Norway, playing on AstroTurf, they looked a little bit less energetic. I thought Jesus only looked 70-80% fit on Sunday. So it'll be interesting what sort of team he picks, but I think this will be a much harder game. So if we can win that, then the last 2 games maybe we can rotate a little bit more. It'll be a lively atmosphere, like you said. I think they'll bring a few thousand fans.
I can recall when PSV last came to the Emirates. I think that was in the Champions League, and they had the big guy in team, Alex.
Centre half. Yeah.
And I think that they drew the game. I think they actually put us out of the Champions League that year.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean, they'll be hoping for a similar type of result.
Yeah, they'll be up for it.
But yeah, I am actually, out of all the Europa League games we've played so far, I'm probably looking forward to this one the most.
Yeah, definitely. It's the glamour tie of the group, innit, really, you know.
And like you said, we want to win it, don't we?
Definitely.
I mean, we definitely don't want to lose it. But if we get the draw, we'll be through to the next stage.
The good thing is that if you finish top, you avoid all the teams that drop out of the Champions League. And obviously teams like Barcelona look like they're going to drop. So it's important we win the group, which I think we will.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Result, what do you reckon?
I think it'll be a tight game. I'm going to go for 2-1 because I think we will rotate quite a bit. And then they are a decent team, so I think it'll be a tight game. I think it'll be a hard-fought win.
How strong or otherwise do you think he'll go though?
I mean, he can't.
Because he's got another big game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see Thomas Partey play. I don't want to see Jesus play. Maybe you put him on the bench in case, you know, you need a goal later on. I think a similar team to what he's been playing. He's played, you know, Turner in goal, probably Tierney. You give Holding a game. Lokonga will come in, Fabio Vieira, Nelson. that sort of team. They put one or two on the bench in case
Yeah,
he
that's
needs
what I've
to.
noticed in the previous Europa League games. He has gone with I wouldn't say second team, because that would be slightly disrespectful to say that, but not the full
Yeah.
team. But he's had the main guys on the bench there if required, which they have been at times.
No, they have been required. Yeah.
So, but you know what? It's nice to see that he's taking the competition very seriously.
I want us to win this.
Yeah,
I really do.
absolutely.
We haven't won a European trophy for over 20 years.
Because there could be a temptation to take it less than 100% seriously, given where we are in the league. But he's, it's looking good.
Yeah, got to go for both.
Got to go for both, man.
Yeah.
Have to. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I reckon a win 2-1 kind of sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Like you said, they've got some sturts going forward, De Jong, Gakpo, so they are capable of nicking a goal.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine we will win, should win, and I think we will. Right. Yeah. Okay then, the second op of the week then is at the weekend, Sunday, another away game. Southampton away. Could be a tricky fixture. Let's have a look at Southampton in the Premier League so far. They're not doing that well, has to be said. They're currently 18th in the Premier League, which means that they're third from bottom, so they're actually in the relegation places. 10 games, 8 points, 2 wins, 2 draws and 6 losses. Our corresponding results with them, we beat them 3-0 at the Emirates, but they did beat us at their place last year. So I'm not saying it's going to be an easy game. It should be a game where we should prevail. However, I would imagine they will come there. They're well organised, even if they're not got the greatest personnel, but they will make it hard for us, I would imagine, at least to begin with. Couple of players that we do have to watch out for. The obvious one being Ward-Prowse on his set pieces. He's one of the best in the Premier League, I would say. Che Adams, decent striker up top, young, energetic, looks powerful, got a finish as well. And our friend Maitland-Niles has rocked up at
he'll probably, I would imagine he won't be able to play.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you think they'll have that clause in there?
They'll have a clause in there. I don't see him playing. But yeah, Che Adams, decent player, powerful striker, and obviously Ward-Prowse a bit
he's the kind of striker that on his day can prove very difficult.
Yeah, he's strong.
He's big, he's strong, he's quick, and like I said, I've seen him finish off.
I played against him before.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. He played for Ilkeston Town, just outside of Nottingham. He's a Leicester boy.
I was going to say he's from up that side.
He's from there. Yeah, he used to play centre mid.
Yeah,
and then he got signed pro. They moved him forward. He's a powerhouse, man.
Yeah,
strong guy.
He looks
plays for Scotland now.
Yeah, he does.
His grandma's from Scotland, but he's decent. If Southampton go down, he'll get a move. I think.
Oh, definitely.
Somebody will take him. But he's a kind of guy, He will have it with Gabriel and Saliba. He'll try,
and he'll be up for it.
He'll be up for it. Yeah.
This is one of those shop window games, man.
Yeah, of course.
Guys like him will be looking at him thinking,
I can get a move it. You know what I mean? If I play well today, you could get a move.
Yeah, but no, listen, I would say we're the obvious favourites for this game.
I mean, look, we've got.
We said that last week against Leeds, didn't we?
Yeah. I think Southampton, we got a pretty bad record at Southampton. I remember a midweek game a few years ago, Alexis Sanchez, when he scored the winner there. But I can't remember too many wins after that. So it'll be a tough game. But listen, the form we're in and the form they're in, I got to be honest, I expect us to turn up and beat them. I'm not fearful of them.
No.
I don't know if it's just, when you're top of the league, the energy is just different, innit? I'm going, every team we go to, I'm like, we'll beat them. But again, it's one of them games you got to earn the right. You know, you can't rock up and just think, we'll beat them because they're struggling. We're going to have a tricky game on Thursday against PSV that won't be easy. Southampton, I think they play tomorrow night in the Premier League, so I think we play obviously 24 hours later than them. They'll have a bit more rest, but it'll be a tricky game, but I expect us to beat them. Their confidence is low. I think if we can go there, get on the ball, score first, I think their heads will drop. But again, we're going to have to quieten their crowd because 2 o'clock kick off a bit earlier. I think they'll be up for it. They'll try and have a go at us.
Yeah.
When you're a struggling team and the team at the top, you're playing against them, it's like a cup final.
Yeah, there's an extra motivation.
Fans will be up for it.
And of course, we've got the game on Thursday. They'll be fresher. Although they are playing.
They're playing, And obviously Ward-Prowse, he's trying to go to the World Cup. These are games, you score a free kick or something, everyone takes notice. So it's a dangerous game, but it is one that, listen, if we have got aspirations of challenging, you got to go to Southampton and beat them. And I do think we are going to beat them, which is good. It's good. I do think we do.
Absolutely no disrespect to Southampton fans. I know. It's just there. If you got pretensions or aspirations of winning the Premier League, you're playing at Southampton, you're top of the league, you got 9 out of 10 wins. You're looking at that game and you're thinking, you know, I mean, you're looking forward to that game.
Yeah.
You're thinking, yeah, man, this is an opportunity for us to
collect 3 more
points and put more pressure on City. So, yeah. Prediction?
Do you know what? I'm going to go 2-0.
Right.
I think we can keep a clean sheet there. I think if we score first, take control of the game, I'm confident we're going to win. You know, all these teams at the moment, I'm like, do you know what? I can't see us losing. I just think our attack at the moment, it feels like it's very difficult for a defence to keep them out. And
let's face it, the defence is not bad either.
We've got the second best defence in the league, which is crazy. You know, we're talking about, you know, Gabriel's had a little bit of criticism in this, but when you look at the goals conceded, only Man City have conceded less than us this year. It's only 1 goal less. So,
and I would argue in Saliba, we've definitely got one of the best defenders in the Premier League.
He's, we got to get him to sign the contract because I keep saying it, you know, on my podcast that if you do not want him going to the World Cup playing for France with 18 months left on his contract. Because if I'm Real Madrid, PSG, I'm ringing his agent saying, what's
the situation?
What's going on there? You know what I mean? So they need to get him to sign it. But
just getting those goals. So just inquiring. So
how much does he get a week? Oh, okay, we can treble that.
So his contract situation is not quite resolved. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, here's my card.
Yeah, give me a call. Yeah, you know what I mean? You can't afford that because we've seen these situations happen before. You know, we're top player. So him, Saka, Martinelli, we got to get those 3 to sign new deals quickly as well.
Just before we close off, I've got a couple of comments. One question I think I'll put to you. I don't know if it's for me or for you, but I think you're the man that should answer this. Thoughts on Arsenal signing João Felix and Manuel Locatelli?
João Felix, a top player. I just think he'd be so expensive. They paid 100 million euros for him, so to sell him, they're going to want similar amounts of money. He's a top player. I'd love to get him, but I just think financially I don't see it. Locatelli's, I mean, I've seen Locatelli's being linked with Arsenal now. So it's a tricky one because this is a guy that we chased and chased and chased. He goes to Juventus. Now he's struggling at Juventus. We're going to be the side dish and pick him up now from, you know.
How's Vlahovic getting on? Because
he's doing all right.
Like a train.
He's doing all right. He's doing all right. He has scored about 6 goals this season, but Juventus are 8 for Allegri's job's on the line. Listen, Locatelli is better than our backup midfielders. So if we got him, I would understand why we signed him.
What, you think he's better than Sambi?
Here he goes again.
Get hammered in the comments.
Sambi's loyal. But no, listen, I think the fact that he rejected us and kind of gone to Juventus and struggled, I feel like we should maybe go for someone else. Because I just think now, the feeling about Arsenal is, you know, we heard Gabriel Jesus rejected Chelsea, came to Arsenal. I think it helps when a player wants to be at your club rather than, well, it hasn't really worked here and you're interested, so I'll just take you up.
How much is the bag?
Yeah, you're doubling the wages. All right, I'll take it. I don't think Locatelli really wants to play in the Prem, you know, so he is a good player.
And given what we've spoken about earlier in the show about Arteta wants seemingly young, energetic, hungry guys, then that would appear to be out of sync with with that kind of model.
I think we can go for someone else. If we'd have got Locatelli the first time when he was on form, but signing an out of form midfielder that doesn't really want to come to England, I'm not sure if that's the right one. But he's
another question here for you before we wrap up. Who will be the first one to go, Gerrard or Rodgers?
I think that's a great question.
It is, isn't it? I had to ask you that one.
I
had to ask you that. Not that we're wishing that on anyone.
No, we're not.
It's just
the surprising thing is you would have thought Rodgers would have already been gone. Apparently,
they can't afford to sack him.
Yeah, he's got 3 years left. He's on 8 million a season, 24 million to sack him.
I think the chances of him walking away from that job.
Do you know what I think? Gerrard.
Zero.
I think Gerrard. I've looked.
There was a rumour yesterday, weren't there, going around on Twitter?
Pochettino to Villa. They reckon he's already been tapped up. I think Gerrard there is. I heard something on Sky today that I don't know how true this is, but apparently some Villa fans were saying like they've seen him out and about and asked him for a picture, and he's just like, no. Like,
Really?
they're saying he hasn't embraced what Aston Villa is about as a club. And Dean Smith was a Villa fan; they loved him. You know what I mean? So
I have
think
to say as
Gerrard-
well with Gerrard, I know we're digressing slightly. Apologies, guys, but it was a good question. I thought it was worth asking Curtis. I have to say, Gerrard's body language in recent weeks are noticeably. How can I put it? He's not. Put it this way: he's not enjoying himself, which
No.
is. Some would say it's pretty obvious he's not, given the situation they're in. But he just doesn't. He seems a bit bogged down by it, doesn't he?
Do you know what? I've got to be honest, I wanted Gerrard to do well there because he's a player that I always liked. And I think it's nice to see, you know, your Vieiras and your Gerrards becoming good managers. And I think he always thought he would end up getting the Liverpool job. I mean, he's got no chance. has he?
Not right now.
I don't think he'll be at Villa much longer.
I
They
don't
spent
think
a lot of money and they look poor this season, man. You
Yeah,
know, they're all over the place. I think Gerrard
The
will
fans
be
have been
picking
letting
it.
them know it as well.
Yeah, they're not on it. They don't care, man. They must say, listen, what kind of football is this? You
You've got
know?
to remember as well, though, like, although Gerrard is a proper legend, you know what I mean, there's no one can deny that.
Yeah.
But he's not a Villa legend,
No.
you see. That's slightly different, you see. So how much more time will he get with the fans?
Yeah, no, I think they've already had enough of him. From what I've been hearing from their
Cruel
fans,
world, bro.
they're being linked with Poch, and they have got the money to probably pay Gerrard
And
up.
let's face it, Villa are one of the biggest clubs in the country.
Yeah, they're a
So
big club, man.
If
very
you're a
big.
fan, you're not going to want to see your team
Yeah,
diminish in this way. You're going to, you know what I mean, it won't be long before, you know what I mean,
yeah.
the voices start getting louder. But anyway, we're coming to the end of the show now, bro. Another
Yes.
show that I've enjoyed immensely. Just picking up on your prediction, you went for, was it
2-0.
2-0? I'm going for 2 clear goals, although I think Southampton might get a goal. Ward-Prowse with those set pieces, man. You spoke about Che Adams. I noticed in the comments a couple of people were saying you're only bigging him up because he played against. So I don't agree.
No,
I
man.
think he's a good player.
He's
He's a good player.
you find with a lot of them players when they've come out of non-league, they've got a different
different
kind
hunger,
of fighting
yeah.
spirit. Vardy had a similar thing, you know, and he's tough, man. Che Adams, you'll see against us. He don't give you no easy work,
Nope.
you know.
I've been watching that guy for a while. He's a good player. I mean, he's Scottish international.
Yeah.
And he's done well for Scotland as well.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
Super chat here from Rizwan. He says, thoughts on the contract situation, Saka, Gabby, Saliba. We kind of touched on what Arsenal need to do already with Saliba. What about Saka?
I've been hearing this Saka one's close. A lot of people saying
I think he'll stay.
I think it's close to being done, the Saka one. Martinelli, I think Martinelli's got a bit longer on his contract, so I don't think there's as much desperation. The Saliba one's the one where the alarm bell is ringing
got
for
to
me,
lock that
because he
down.
didn't come through the Arsenal system. You know, he's a French boy and he's going to go World Cup. These man could be in his ear. Benzi, you see my Ballon d'Or? You get them at Madrid, mate. You know what I mean?
And let's face it, you're guaranteed to win things.
Of course you are. And the clubs like that will be looking at him. He's one of the best young centre-backs in world football. So, yeah.
Listen,
for me,
I think we all know it won't be long before the likes of Real Madrid, Barca, PSG, like you said, will come knocking. Maybe even your Bayern Munichs and your Milans and people like that. They are going to come knocking.
Of course, yeah.
It's whether Arsenal can put things in place to, you know what I mean, lock that down and stave these guys off, because the guy is very good, man. You're
going to have to pay him big money.
Absolutely.
If Eddie's getting 100 and he's on the bench at the moment, you know, Saliba, what's his agent going to be asking for? I want 150. You know, I'm starting every week. I'm going to the World Cup with France. I want 150 at least.
No, but what you say is very relevant, because at the end of the day, it's his agent, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be acting in his best interest.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're having those conversations at the moment.
Yeah.
Absolutely sure of it. But it's what Arsenal do. They've got to be proactive and make sure he signs that thing.
This is the best time to get him to sign. When you're top of the league, feel good factor, the player will believe in what we're doing.
Yeah.
Put the bag on the table. Don't do it when we have a little wobble. Do it while everything's going well.
This is what I said earlier in the show. You build from the top.
Yeah,
It's a common business strategy, corporate strategy.
Yeah.
You build when you're in a position of strength, because it makes it easier to do so.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're absolutely right on that. But anyway, we've come to the end of the show. Thanks, bro, for coming in. Thanks, guys, for watching, supporting. Continue to support us. Continue to let us know what you think of the show. I try to respond to the comments every week. We want the show to be interactive, so please Let us know what you think. We heard us today discuss Arsenal's success this season, best ever start to a top division season. We gave you the reasons why. You let us know what you think the integral reasons for this massive turnaround in form for Arsenal, which is to be welcomed and we hope continues. Thanks very much. Keep it locked in and we'll see you next week. We're out.